This episode may not have had any crazy action like we're used to when it comes to cells at work, but I have to admit, as a person that really ships red blood cell and white blood cell, that final segment and the entirety of this episode was hella enjoyable. I really have to say this is one of my personal favorites. Now, don't get me wrong, I really love the last episode of the whole cancer cell, but I like these calm episodes that are very educational, because this episode, I think, really just goes to show how we really underappreciate our red blood cells and just our blood in general that courses through our body. Because every single day when we're going through life, you don't really think about the little details that go on within. What your body has to do for you could just function as a person, for you can get up out of bed, for you can go to work, for you can go to school, for you can study, whatever. We take for granted what our body actually has to do every single day. And that's kind of what Cells at Work has been about since the first episode. But this episode goes a little bit more, I guess, simple, but shows that red blood cells, they constantly work, and they honestly have a hard job. Without their existence, we would not exist. And this can be said for pretty much almost anything that goes on within our body, but red blood cells are very vital. It's one of the most key important ingredients when it comes to the human body, and seeing how red blood cell managed to finish a delivery in this episode made me very happy. However, there is something I do want to admit. I'm very glad that in some cases, our red blood cells or our cells aren't humanoid like the cells in, Cells at Work. The reason why is because if cells could have their own personality, like red blood cell Chan, we would probably all be dead right now. Because think about it like this. She was lost since the very first episode, not being able to understand where to find out where to go. And if our red blood cells actually worked like that, we would have been dead long ago. So in some ways, I'm thankful that we don't have microscopic waifus that course through our veins. I guess that's a good little detail to think about. But regardless, though, we do get a lot of details on what the blood throughout our body has to go through to travel to get to the heart. I especially like the little segment to when they're trying to go uphill and all that, and it's incredibly difficult. Like, for instance, there's just a lot of pressure they're trying to push forward. That's very similar to how our body actually functions. If you're unaware of this, the blood is, circulating through your body. Obviously, because of gravity and stuff, blood would go down a lot faster. But going back up, your heart having to pump to bring the blood back up, let's say from your feet all the way back up to your head, would be incredibly difficult. It would definitely take a lot more strength or power from your muscles to bring that back up on your body. And I like how that was kind of shown with the uphill and all that, with, red blood cell trying to push up the hill, or all of them kind of struggling to get up. That's how the blood really works. And I also like the analogy for the very small cramped corridors, which represent kind of like the veins, how our veins course through our bodies, how they're very small or cramped, or how a lot of blood cells, when they get together, they're jam-packed and they can't really move that fast. Kind of like how our heart beats for blood can just course through our body. I just really like these little details that Cells at Work does, and I think once again this is one of the big reasons to why this series is just so successful and one of the better series of, Summer of Anime 2018. Now, getting into the actual plot of this episode, it mainly focuses on red blood cell Chan, her trying to finish a delivery for the first time. Because if you remember, as a character, she has always become lost. She doesn't know how to get to her destination, and when she's not struggling to get to her destination, usually some form of bacteria or virus attacks, which delays her entirely to where she can't do anything. So this episode is dedicated to showing her character growth, but also showing that she can actually do things on her own. Even though she did get help on the side from, white blood cell, she still technically did it all on her own, and this is the time to where she could finally start doing her job properly without any interruptions, and that just made me incredibly happy to see. Very nice little simplistic episode that makes me respect red blood cell, but also white blood cell and how he actually looks after her. Let's get into that. So, like I said, red blood cell wanted to get a delivery done by herself. No help. She didn't want any outside help. Now, she did get help by white blood cell throughout the entirety of the episode. He was either slinging back her notebook, or, giving back her hat, or, he was just making sure she went the proper direction without really saying anything. I just really like how that was done. I especially love the scene to when you have certain bacteria that was coming in, and he actually took them out before she even got interrupted. She never even got to see them in the first place. I do like that. It was a very simple but enjoyable episode, and definitely one of my favorites when it comes to the series. So, yeah, I mean, that final segment, though, is very deep, by the way. Like, that really got me thinking about a lot of things about the series, but also just how our cells are in general. Because, like, what Killer T said, even though he admits that he's jealous of the relationship other cells have, like what white blood cell has with red blood cell, he does have a lot of truth to what he said. How, because of their job, how their, immune system cells, they're not allowed to really feel compassion for other cells, even their own allies. And the reason for that is because at any given moment, your neighboring cells could turn against you. Not because they want to, but because some form of virus, bacteria, or disease takes over them, and they can't control themselves. Think of Cancer Cell from the last episode. That was kind of what was going on there at the end, with us as the viewers feeling very emotional, but also how White Blood Cell was talking to the Cancer Cell, and, he felt very emotional about it. He's like, I'm sorry I have to do this, it's my job, but, I will remember you, which shows that he was getting very emotional, and that would be very bad for his job if our cells actually did have emotions or thought, because if they did, many cells that, let's say, would, feel bad or have, brothers and sisters they care about, they wouldn't want to commit the act of ending them if somehow they turn into cancer cells. So, in a way, we should be thankful that our cells also don't have a mind of their own. For instance, they are not sentient like us, because if they were, it would probably lead to a lot more complications within the human body. But anyways, though, getting back into the deep thought process of that, basically, all the immune cells in this series, they can never be truly happy. Like, they can never truly connect with any other individual. And the reason for that is because if they did, when they have to eventually, let's say, kill them if they turn into, like, an enemy cell, it's going to hurt a lot worse to where they might not want to do it. There's a lot of deep meaning to that final segment of the episode, which I appreciate, and it makes me feel bad, honestly, for all the white blood cells to, Killer T and all that NK, cell. I kind of feel bad for all of them now after seeing that little description. I didn't really think about it like that, but they really cannot, look and turn a blind eye to even their own allies, because they might have to end them at any given moment. But yeah, that's pretty much about it when it comes to this episode. It's like I said, it's simple but effective. I think it did a very good job with kind of explaining how our system, our blood system works, how our blood courses throughout our body. I think this episode did a fantastic job with that. It was very simple. I especially love the little, like, child heart thing that popped up, kind of talking to us how the body works, or, go in a proper fashion to move through, the heart. I just like those little details, and once again, as I said, I do truly believe this series should be an educational show. I mean, honestly, if I ever have a child, which I don't know if I ever will, but if I ever had a child and they were a little bit mature for they can understand, blood or accept blood, I would definitely show them this, maybe when they get a little bit older, because it would definitely be an educational show that would probably be very fun. Probably show it to, like, a teenager or something. It would be one of those type of shows I think many could actually appreciate. But yeah, that's pretty much about it when it comes to this week's episode of Cells at Work. I'm sorry for the delay on this episode review. I know it came out on, Saturday morning, and I know now at this time of me recording this, it's Monday. Forgive me for the delay. A lot of things happened throughout the weekend. Been a little bit busy. Also taking a little bit R&R time. But, it is what it is. But it's better late than never. And do not worry if you're wondering, all the other reviews will be up too. I also plan on getting up Ty's Eye as well today. So do not worry about that. Don't freak out. Well, anyways, you guys have a great day or night wherever you live. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.